In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how I produce a full batch of e-commerce ads using AI in one single sitting. So I spent over $25 million on ads across our own brand and our clients at our agency GrowthHit. And the single biggest thing that slows teams down when trying to scale ads is one thing. It's new creative, trying to feed the beast of different hooks and angles and images that can help you scale. So instead of briefing a designer and waiting weeks for finished assets to arrive and cross your fingers that you like them, you're about to see exactly how I run this entire process from start to finish using AI. This will allow you to have new ad creative every single week to put into your ad account to allow you to scale without having to wait on anybody except your prompt. Let's get into it. Audit the ad account first. So before any new creative gets made, the first thing I do is I plug Claude Cowork into Meta Ads so I can start to audit my account and understand what's working and what's not working. You can do this through a direct connector or just give Claude access to your Chrome browser and it can look at the page through a Chrome tab. Because the reason most ad creatives don't perform is quite simple. Brands go straight into idea mode and making new ads without looking at the data to understand what's working, what's not working, to build upon those learnings. You see teams come up with these crazy ideas out of nowhere. They brief a designer, spend 2 weeks producing it, only to find that it doesn't get traction. And they then go back to the start and trying to figure out, wait, what angles have worked, what haven't worked? So that's why I like to start with the data. That's why every concept I produce is built upon insights and learning from what we already have in the market. So let me show you the audit and what it shows me whenever I'm running this prompt. So right now, Claude is taking over my computer. You can see it up here where it says Claude MCP and it's in the ads manager. And it's starting to look at our campaigns, our ad sets, and our ads to understand what creative is working and not working. This way it can get intel to give me feedback on the different creative we should be doing. So it tells me which ads are losing performance week over week and which ones are actually performing well and have room to scale. Which creative angles in the account are actually driving the most revenue, the most new customer acquisition. It also tells me which hooks are getting the highest click-through rate and which copy formats are driving the lowest cost per acquisition. All of these insights really start to inform what is the creative we should be doing next. So let me show you what that brief looks like. All right, so right now I'm in Claude and it just ran the audit. So you can see here how it breaks it down from the executive summary, what's working, some gaps, customer language bake, competitive snapshot, and then the big one, recommendations on the next things to test. So as we go through this, I've got the executive summary, talking about how many ads are live, kind of some high level stuff. But what I really like is this, like, hey, here's what's working. The demo video where we don't tell people about our product, we show people the product. That's the magic moment. Also brand voice. It hits on some of the key words and language that is actually getting hooks and that's really resonating with people. This one's helpful too. It talks about gaps, right? As far as opportunities, we're not doing any real carousels to showcase it. We're not doing that many ads that focus on the emotion of the problem that we solve. And so for us, it's like, okay, we're focused too much on the demonstration, not the emotional aspect. It even talked about some language that you could use based on comments and reviews that we've had in the past that we aren't using. But what I really like is after the competitive snapshot, it's saying, hey, here's some things you could be doing next. Doing more testimonials to speak to it. Do a comparison one against a competitor and how we're different. So as we're looking at what is the next test we should run, we have 6 ideas sitting in front of us that are actually backed by data and what has worked and what the next ads could be that build upon those winners. Now let's talk about pulling real customer language from reviews and the open web to actually write ads in the language of the customer. So once I know what's working inside the ad account, the next thing I want to really understand is customer language. So I can use their words to write ad copy, to come up with hooks, to come up with the words on the actual ads. So most ad copy I see written is built by what the marketing team thinks customers care about instead of the exact words customers use when describing addressing the problem you solve or the solution you offer. And those two things are almost never the same. So the second job I hand off to Claude Cowork is really gathering up everything customers are saying about us and our competitors and turn it into a brief so I can give it straight to the creative step of the AI process. So the first thing I do is I have Claude Cowork go into the reviews on our actual website on Shopify. So let me show you that real quick. So you can connect Shopify directly to Claude with the connections function. You could also give it access to your Chrome browser so it can then start to crawl all the reviews on the website. So that's what we do. We have it look at all the reviews from 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, and more, just to really understand the language of what people are saying. So it's just overloading with content and keywords that it can deploy for ad creative. And the good thing, these are people who already bought the product, so the way they describe what changed for them is perfect for ad copy. And I want the exact phrases people use when they talk about the result our product offers, not paraphrase versions of them or not our own technical jargon. From there, I have it crawl the open web for reviews of our products and our competitors' products. That includes places like Amazon, Reddit, niche forums, and review sections on our competitors. Competitor reviews are just as important to look at as your own because they tell you what people say that they like about a competitor, but also where they're frustrated, even after buying that similar product. And when you see the same complaint again and again across multiple brands, that's the problem your ad should speak to directly. If your competition isn't addressing it and you are, that's your wedge. At the end of all this, I want to have one main document that I can hand straight off to our AI campaign creation setup. Now let me show you this customer research brief that we have so we can feed it to our AI design team to start making creative that aligns with what resonates with the customer. And no better way to do that than to feed it the exact words. So one section here talks about some of the top complaints that people have with products in this category and the problem they're trying to solve in general. Some of the top phrases that we could identify and we could use, from sweat anxiety to, hey, this changed my whole wardrobe, I've tested 5 shirts, I'm a back sweater, I run hot. All of these things are keywords that could resonate with customers. And then here's the different angles that it's recommending as far as the different concepts that we could be putting together, and see how it puts together essentially 8 concepts that I can hand off to my creative team to start designing. And so that's the simple part, is look at the ad account, do the research, and then make the brief that you can share with your design team. And real quick, if you have an e-commerce brand and you're looking to scale to that next level, click the link in the description below to book a free call with us. We'll show you the exact roadmap on how you can go from where you're at to scaling past 8 figures, and what are those blockers that are in your way or that are coming up and how to navigate them. Anyway, let's keep going with this video. Now, I want to talk about one more thing that I do before we start doing design. And this is something I've learned from trial and error, but here's the key point. If you're gonna start making creative with AI, you have the ability to train it on what are the best in class ad design templates happening this year, happening the past month, where it can crawl the Facebook ad library of top brands to come back with those formats. It can also look at best practices for designing ads, the do and do not do list. That way, when it gives you ad creative, it's already above the bar of what is acceptable and what works. So I'll show you the document I feed into the Claude AI design tool before I give it the brief. All right, so right here I'm saying the ad creative design system. Basically, it researched everything that's working in 2026, right? As far as the image should be exposed 70-80% of the time, left side dominant, one message rather than 5, less copy is better than more, right? If you're doing social proof, how you want it to be exposed, and then 20 to 30% of the frame should be empty space, doesn't need to be crowded. And so you can kind of see that it starts to give rules as far as the do and do not do list, and it even gave template designs that you could do. So that was step 1 of getting that set up. And so once I have that, here's the next thing that I do. So we have our brief of the different ad templates that we want to do. do, I then layered on, hey, update the brief to factor in the best practices for ad design. And so it's giving me all these ideas, but it's also giving it the rules of what to do and not do based on those best practices. So for all of these ad concepts, it's basically the guardrails for how to design them really well. So now let's talk about how we take these briefs and we put them into Claude Design. Okay, so now you've got your brief on how to make creative, but where do you make the creative? With Claude, you have lots of options. You could connect it to Figma to design. You could connect it to Canva to do design. But where we're really excited right now is actually using the Claude Design tool to connect it into Claude Design and do it there. So let me show you some of the pre-work you have to do before you start getting your ads with the click of a button. So what I'm showing right here is essentially Anthropic's Claude Design Studio, where you can come in here and you can start to make anything, right? You could prototype products, you can make slide decks, you could upload templates of different ads you want to do, landing pages, email, you can create your own stuff. But before you start creating, you need to do something very crucial, and it's to go over here and to basically set up your design system. And so when you create a design system, it's pretty simple. Think about in Claude how you create a project. So you're like, oh, this is the project for my brand. Here's my brand guidelines. Here's all of our materials. Here's context. That's the same thing for Claude Design. You'll go in here, talk about what you're designing for. And if you have a code base in GitHub, you can upload the code base. So it can start to see all your logos, fonts, copy use, image assets. You can also put code directly from your computer. You can upload your Figma files, any logos and assets. So there's a lot of work you need to put into this, but you set it once and it will just scale for a very long time. So when you set this up, you start to create your system. So let me show you what that looks like after you upload everything. So this is the one for Neat, where you can start to see what we have. It's like, okay, here's the colors, here's the different fonts you use, how you do spacing, different brand guidelines. You can also upload any photography that you want to use. And you also have more design files where you can constantly be feeding it the different images and videos that you use. But the big call out here is the README and the skill, where you're going to give it guardrails on your brand, the do and do not do list. So the more time you put into this, the better your designs are going to be. So that was step one. Now let's talk about that design phase where we want to actually make ads. So now we're like, all right, let's make the ads. I've got the brief. I went into Claude Design and I set up my design system. So you would go in here and you'd be like, okay, we'll say we're going to do meta ads for Neat. So what design system are we going to do? Boom, we've got Neat apparel. So now it is already trained on all the context for a brand. And then we hit create and now we can start making those ads. So now that we're into this project for making Neat ads, it's a very simple interface where we just upload that brief that we created in Claude, and now it's going to start making ads for us. So you can see all the work that's gone into it. It's starting to load and train, and now it starts making ads. So let me show you some of the ads it made from that brief. So it heard the pain of you've tried everything. So it made this ad. I spent $500 trying to fix it. I did antiperspirant pads, bad undershirts. Then I found Neat. I did this other ad based on the idea of your closet doesn't have to be all black. You can now wear colors because you're not going to sweat through them. I did these testimonial ads where it pulled in creative from our brand book, the sweat tax on how much money you actually end up spending. And so you can kind of see some of the ads that it started to make for us. And you can easily go in here and edit, be like, change the model, do this, do that, make the font bigger. So instead of having to be a designer, you can just type out the edits that you want to do. And because it's trained on our brand guidelines and how we work, it will play within those guardrails. And then whenever you want to run them, it's as simple as hitting this and then exporting it or sharing it out. You could even have this set up where it would publish back into Claude and it'll take it live for you through Claude Cowork, or you can do it manually. But for us, this has been the big unlock, being able to do ads from start to finish. So let me show you at a high level what we just did and what you could do to implement all of this. And as a recap, we audited the ad account. We then did research on our customers and our competitors to come up with ad concepts. We then ran those concepts through what are the best in class ad templates, and then made a brief where we could put it into Claude Design to actually start designing. So some some of the skills that are required to pull this off so you could do it again and again and it's scalable is simple. So here you can see we have different research methods for going through Reddit, going through reviews. So this is a document that we have that we can use again and again. Also, we have copywriting principles for how to take that research and turn into copy, from problem solution format to shock and awe to infotainment. We then have ad design best practices where we're updating this every month on the top performing ad templates, and that's right here. And then you have the brief, where it needs to make a brief of everything we have, all the ads we want to do, to then be able to hand that off to Claude Design to start making those ads. But it's that simple as far as putting that together. It'll be some upfront work, but what used to take us days to do, we're now able to do on autopilot in under 45 minutes. And that's what allows us to scale ad creative without adding more people. Now, if you want us to build an AI creative system like this inside your brand on top of running your entire growth setup for you, then click the link in the description to book a free strategy call with us to see if we can help. We'll take a look at your business together. We'll find what's holding you back from growth right now and walk you through what we would want to do to help you scale past 8 figures. So again, you can book a call by clicking the link in the description below, and would love to hear from you. And if you want to learn how things like Claude are changing e-commerce forever, then click this next video. I think it'll open your eyes to some ways it can empower you and your brand.